So first of all, just sit yourself facing the front of the room. And recall some details about what you did just before lunch. Preferably about the details about the movement. So think it through. What can you vividly bring back to mind? Something about how the legs were moving, something about where your weight shifted, the use of the eyes. And now you know that if you're on something sticky, there's more friction, so maybe something slippery is better. You can thank Kwan for that. Now, this business of recalling, I'm not inviting you into just abstract memory. Can you recall the sensations associated with the movements you're remembering? And so what would it be best to recall? Performances that you weren't so happy with, or those that you felt satisfied about, that you actually enjoyed? It's like, yeah, that worked. That felt better. So where was that right hand? Where was that hand placed that went out to the side? Now here's a question. Which direction in space did your head first go when you took your legs around? Did it go to the same side as the legs or the opposite side? I never mentioned that the first time around, but can you recall? So now please go ahead and start to do what you're recalling. Go to take your right hand to the right, take the legs around to the left, take the legs around to the left, take the legs around to the left. Yeah, so you're actually now actively doing the transposition, taking it around to the left, transposing all those experiences from the right to the left. And there was something about the legs not having to stay together, that the left leg can go and the right leg can follow. That's it. Oh, that's it. Yeah, I'd call that a reverse roundhouse kick, actually. Yeah. So, you know, if someone was standing behind you and you wanted to touch them with that left heel, yeah, that's it. Oh, nice. And then you bring yourself back. And then there's a matter of timing. When does it make sense to push with that right hand? And the best way to find out is sometimes push too early, sometimes push too late. Push at different times until you find the sweet spot, or as Susan said this morning, the Goldilocks place. Just right. Be baby bears. Baby bears. That's it. And then what about that left arm? Could that left arm somehow assist? And then when do you lift that right hand off the floor? If you leave it on the floor too long, the arm lags behind and kind of acts like an anchor. And gradually, over time, what you're eliminating is everything that is unnecessary, so you end up doing only what's necessary. And that's what happens when you get older. As you get older, you just do the things that are necessary, and you stop doing all those crazy things that were not necessary. What about the eyes? Do you lead the movement with your eyes or not? And are you sure you're leaning on one buttock and not two? Because if you're leaning on two buttocks, you have twice the amount of friction. Great. Now go to the left, return, go to the right, return, one way, the other way, one way, the other way. Oh, look, all in one go too. Go on, come on. That's it. Yay. That's it. Lucky you're the center of the room. Not only that, you're the center of attention. Uh-huh. Cool. Let that be and rest on your back. So does that mean that that's the end of that exploration? Well, not really. You could keep on exploring that using those very simple means. Can it be easier? Can it be lighter? Can it be more comfortable? And if you insist on finding those things, you will find them in your own time. And that movement, that action that you were just doing will continue to be refined. And that's how we all are. Those things that interest us, we get better at because we engage. And those things that are not so important, go, oh, no, I'm more interested in that, so you pursue that. So should you be equally as interested in every lesson? Maybe not. But by the same token, it's not always a good idea to steer away from the lessons that you find difficult. Please bend both of your knees. Take hold of the front of your right knee with your right hand and the front of your left knee with your left hand, and make sure that the hands, the volar surfaces are in contact with the outside of your legs. And now hold that part of the knee that's just below the kneecap, at the very top of the shin. And let the elbows unbend. Let them unbend so that the knees are just suspended in your hands with the arms long. That's it. And very gently, just take the legs apart, bring them together, and see if it's possible to leave the legs suspended in the length of the arms. So the right knee goes to the right, the left knee goes to the left, and then you bring them back together, or closer, not necessarily together. Do that many times. And find out how far apart can the knees go without any experience of strain. In other words, an absence of strain and the presence of ease. Because there's two ways of talking about experience. The experience you don't want to have and the experience that you do want to have. Strain, no strain, ease. Now, the next time that your knees are apart, that easy distance where there's no strain, stay there and begin to move your knees further away from yourself so that the feet go a little bit more towards the floor. And come back. Do that many times. And notice what parts of yourself start to lift from the floor as your knees move away. Now, please check. Please check for yourself whether the inside of your wrists are on the outside of your legs. So you're not over the top of the legs, you're not along the inside of the legs, but they're on the outside of the legs. And ask yourself, when would you tend to want to lift your head? And when would you tend to want to lower your head? And then if you have an idea, experiment with it. Do the experiment. And make mistakes. But make small mistakes, because there are some mistakes in life you only get to do once. And there are other mistakes that you can do many, many times and they do no harm. So always make as many mistakes as you like, as long as they don't do harm. In other words, go gently. Make gentle mistakes. Sorry? When would you lift your head? Yeah. When the knees are going away from you, when the knees are going towards you, what is that? Remember, the arms are long, and you're holding onto the kneecaps, or don't let go of those kneecaps. They are precious. But by the same token, don't hold them so tight that you're choking them. So you know you're holding, but not overly holding. Now, continue exploring, but have the legs completely together so that the knees are touching and the ankles are touching and the feet are touching. And continue. And for those of you that are experiencing maybe a little bit of discomfort in your neck, maybe it would be a good idea to put something a little bit behind your head so that your head starts off a little higher. And you don't get that funny little at the back of the neck, that little kink. So feel, when do you flex? And that's another example. Yeah? The word flexion, just this abstract term. What does flexion feel like? Can you recognize it? Let that be, please. Lengthen out your legs and rest. So to go back to that example of the orange, if someone had a blindfold on you and they gave you an apple, and they gave you an orange, and they gave you a pear, you recognize the orange if you've tasted an orange. And if you were really, really paying attention, you'd recognize the orange even before it reached your mouth, because you'd be already smelling the smell of an orange. And that's the way you can do awareness to movement. You don't have to do a big movement. You don't have to take the full bite to get the taste of the movement. You just don't. And that makes challenging movements sustainable, because you have little nibbles, you have little smells, and you go, uh-huh, now I felt that, now I felt this, now I felt that. Please lengthen out your legs and have them apart, and place your arms on the floor above your head. Now, that left hand, that left arm, feel through yourself and notice, is that left arm lined up with your right leg? In other words, can you sense a diagonal directly through yourself from that left arm through to the right leg? If not, rearrange your legs and your arms until you can feel a line through yourself from the left arm to the right leg diagonal, and then from the right arm, left leg diagonal. Great. Now notice, how far apart are your left hand and your left foot? Can you sense the distance between them? Start to move your left hand and your left foot in a circle on the floor to your right, and come back again. And keep the distance between the two long. So make the biggest circle you can make without circling. Circle your left hand and your left foot to the right. Did I say to the left? No, to the right. Oh, I do believe that's an abstract concept. In other words, slide your hand, slide your foot on the floor to your right. So go a little bit, come back. The hand and the foot stay on the floor. That's for you to find out. Go a little way and come back. Remember my suggestion about little nibbles, little smells? So here's a little hint. The more you slide the hand and the foot to the right, the more you start to come onto your right side. And now that I've said it, you don't have to do it just because I've said it. But that's a direction to have in the back of your mind. That's it. And come back. Come back. Don't go for the whole bite all at once. And there'll be a moment as you circle that hand and circle that foot that you feel really long throughout the whole of your left side. Can you feel that? Do whatever you like to do with that right leg. What would help? Some of you did it immediately. Oh, bend the leg. So now somewhere along that journey, as you take that hand, as you take that foot to the right, begin to bend the knee and the elbow. And then as you return, unbend the knee and unbend the elbow. So you flex the knee, flex the elbow at a certain moment, and then as you return in the direction of your back, you extend the knee and you extend the elbow. That's it. And some of you are already starting to get this place where you could go to. You could end up lying on your right side, all curled up, with the knees close to the elbows and the elbows close to the knees, and then you just unfold yourself again. So you fold and unfold, but with a very particular form. This form of sweeping or circling the limbs on the floor long around yourself, and then bringing yourself to the middle, curled up on your side. And for those of you who would like to take this another step, can you track moment by moment the trajectory, the movement through space of your right elbow, your right knee, your left elbow, your left knee? Can you track those trajectories? And then when you return to your back, can they go through the same trajectory without flopping? Sorry. Yeah. I want to hear the sound of no flopping. Now, what's the timing? When do you start to fold yourself? When do you start to unfold yourself? When do you start to flex? When do you start to extend? Now continue and let's play this little stop game. Yeah, so be ready to stop at any moment. Stop. Notice where your elbows and knees are in relationship to each other. What parts of yourself are in contact with the floor? Continue. Stop. Are you in the midst of an out-breath or an in-breath? Continue. Stop. Reverse your direction. Go back in the direction you're just coming from. Stop. Go back the other way. Stop. Go back the other way. Stop. Go back the other way. And the next time you're on your back, start to go to your left. Do it a few times incrementally. Encroach upon it. A little bit more to the left and return. A little bit more to the left and return. A little bit more to the left and return. And this is how a lot of creatures in this world map out the territory in which they live. This is how they get to know the environment. They go a little bit and they come back home. They go a little bit further and then they come back home. So they know how to explore outwards and then they know how to come back. And they'll go from the left onto your back and then to the right and onto your back and left. So roll to the left, roll to the right. And see if it's possible to be for a moment just along that way in that what's that guy's? Leonardo da Vinci. You know, when he's got that person suspended in the circle? Could you be a moment in that little kind of X shape? And recognize that moment when you're passing through there. You go, aha, there I am, and then you just continue. Now, there's a chap that understood both science and art. Yep. He had the artistry, he had the science, the ingenuity, what you'd call very much a Renaissance intelligence. So every time you pass through that X shape, you can do a little homage. Now, go quickly. Woof, woof, woof. That's Leonardo's dog. Woof, woof. So could you do it on one breath to one side and another breath to the other? So time it to your breathing. And now go at a pace. So this is the last variation. Go at a pace where the eyes can lead you. So how would you use your eyes to take yourself around to one side and be on a side? And has this got something to do with that business of scanning the room? How would you scan the room to end up on your side? How would you scan the room to end up on your back? Scan the room to end up on the other side. Okay, let that be in rest, please. So you could say that in that variation, you were playing with being very wide and expansive, and then being very small and contained. Wide and expansive, small and contained. It's almost like there's this pulse out into the world, ooh, back into a smaller world, out, in, out, in. You could say that is the pulsing of flexion extension, swelling outwards, inwards, outwards, not quite, but inwards. Okay, so now the last time, come up to sit. Have your legs out in front of you. And spin yourself around to the right. That's it. Hello. And then once around to the left. Yeah. And around to the other side. Yeah. So notice there's something similar here. Expansive, small. Expansive, small. All right, let that be. Come up to standing and feel what's happened. Feel what the after effects of this lesson are. What's it like to stand? Do you feel flexed, or do you feel extended, or do you feel neither of the two? Or maybe for some of you, you just feel, as some of my students sometimes say in dance, they just feel weird. I feel weird. And what they really mean is, this doesn't feel familiar to me. It's unusual. I don't know what this is. Yeah? And if that's the case, that means that's something to hang out with for a little while. Please walk. Now, you know, every lesson has an after effect. In fact, actually, every movement that you do in your life has an after effect. And it's just the way our nervous systems are. There's a lingering experience. The experience lingers with you. I'm going to go back one more last time to the orange. You've put the orange in your mouth. You've chewed it. You've swallowed it. How long does the taste of the orange linger? When does it disappear? Yeah. So you can always recreate an experience. Please take a 10-minute break. We come back at around about 12:30.